5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fresh meat.
mail. These ones are expensive. Mail. Making some coffee while you're at it.
So,
Making some coffee while you're at it. He's leaving with the fishes tonight. He's leaving with the fishes tonight. You've been chosen as the winner. Congratulations, you got mail. Making some coffee while you're at it.
So let's talk about Peach Beach. If you're anything like me, during the second lap, you gotta just get up here and start spamming tricks because it's fun. Because of that, I didn't even know that this was a cut here, but if you have a mushroom, or someone else in front of you clears the crates for you, you can cut this entire corner super tight, which is really powerful. Let's go from Peach Beach to Medium. In the direct, they used this clip in particular to show why the feather is so powerful. That's because getting onto this rail takes this turn incredibly tight, which is super duper strong. However, if you don't have a feather, it's really hard to get there. However, it's a lot easier if you take the top path. I don't think it's faster because the top path is a lot wider, but charge jumping to get up there allows you to then charge jump to get onto this rail, which is a lot faster. This can be useful in online if you have like a couple mushrooms, you take this final
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
what?
Fresh meat.
Oh,
Turn super tight, and then mushroom through the does come up where it is faster. Next, let's get the Ching Ching Falls. I'm not a huge fan of this course, mainly because I'm not a huge fan of the water driving. So, if you're like me and not a huge fan, you can take this path to pretty much avoid it entirely. If you trick off this rock, you do land back in the water, but you don't have to stay there long. Just drive off this rock and rail grind all the way home. Okay, but that's not at all faster. That's not the shortcut. The actual shortcut is more of a tip, because if you're like me, you'd assume that the optimal mushroom usage is this final turn right here. And yes, in races, a lot of times it's more powerful to take a final turn cut with a mushroom, even if it's not technically the most optimal use. So this is still a great cut, but according to the world record, it's actually faster to take this cut right here, which is just good to know. I would have never guessed that. Next, let's get to Choco Mountain, and I have not seen anyone do this. In fact, the world record uses a mushroom on this first initial cut, but I feel like this one I found has gotta be faster. I'm sure it could be optimized more for time trials, but for actual races, this is sick. You basically drift into a wall right here, which takes you up to this patch of dirt I didn't even know existed, and then from there you can position your to use a mushroom and this entire the next track. If you're enjoying this video or learned something new, hitting the subscribe button makes sure you see more content just like this. It would mean a lot, and also let us know in the comments below what else you want to see from this game. I'm down to make like a million different alternate path videos because this stuff is just so interesting, but if you have any specific ideas, tell me in the comments right now. Thanks, let's get back to it. Crown City, there's a lot of cool like wall riding you can do with the billboards, but the best cut by far comes in the third lap. When you see this Tenants Wanted sign, you want to charge up a charge jump so you can get on the pipe rail right after it. At the end of the pipe rail, you have the left trick to try and make it to the tree, because then you can trick off that and land on this rope right here. Absolutely crazy cut. I love this one. Oh, DK Pass, my beloved. This course slaps, man. You might be thinking the best shortcut is actually this one, where you trick off the signpost, but no, you might be thinking it's this one where you charge jump off of a lamppost and then walk right up to this pine which cuts the corner like crazy, but no, it's this one where you just mess around in the trees. You can't even really see what you're doing, but it's so fun. The biggest tip I have for trying to do this one is it's entirely dependent on where you get that first trick off of the tree. If you trick from the tree high up, then you can wall ride pretty high up and trick off the other two trees to clear the patch no problem. But if you get the trick lower, it's often better to just wall ride and then come straight back out, so you're not stuck in the off-road for too long.
New user get 8% off hotels.
Next, let's talk about Faraway Oasis. You can wall ride on this billboard, which is faster, but the coolest part about this trick is going underwater and then popping out onto the grind rail. As long as you trick off this earlier grind rail, pretty much every character I've tested this with bounces up onto the grind rail without much need for adjusting your aim. From there, this puts you on the top path, and you can even wall ride after that, although I don't think it's actually faster. Alright, Question Block Ruins, man. You guys have all probably seen this one, but I gotta show it off because it is that sick. You gotta get onto this specific rail grind, which I like to do by taking the top glider path, because then you can just trick onto it. But once you're on the rail, this is where the trick starts. Jump off of the rail before it gets to the top, and then anchor yourself at this pillar. But once you're on the rail, this is where the trick starts. Jump off of the rail before it gets to the top, and then anchor yourself at this pillar to trick off of it and avoid the off-road. From there, if you have time, you can do a charge jump, but most of the time you don't need to. You just trick off and try and race this ring. From there, you can trick off of that, wall ride, and come back onto the cloud, and it's pretty straightforward. The main thing is just making sure you have enough distance to hit the outer edge of this ring. Hitting the inner edge of the ring messes you up more times than not. Next, we have Dandelion Depths. I like a lot about this course, but unfortunately, the layout does not really have any great shortcuts. My personal favorite is just wall riding up to this top path, and then wall ride tricking off of that to take a super tight line here. It's not necessarily faster, but it's fun and gets you away from the chaos of everyone down low. Technically, though, the best shortcut is this final off-road patch with the mushroom. Next, let's get to Desert Hills. And this trick has so many cool opportunities for cuts, but they never actually save any time. Like, you can get a cool little wall jump leading into the sand dunes, but it just keeps you in the air for longer, which is slower. The best cut is probably this mushroom right here, but my personal favorite is this rail to wall on the final turn. Dino has one of the funniest alternate paths in this entire game, because you literally ride on the dinosaur here. Yes, if you didn't know, this guy is a rail. And from that you can do anything. You can go up to the secret top section here, but the fastest path is to get onto the left rail, which then puts you on the right rail to take this corner super tight, and if you have a mushroom, you can set yourself up to cut this entire off-ramp. Airship Fortress has some really cool rail grinding tech, but there are a couple of specific tips I have to actually help do it every time.
Beraber çalıştı. Güzel. Oh, Ashley.
First thing for this jump here, you want to do it right as you're coming out of the jump to the chain a decent amount before you get to the top, as that'll reduce the amount of time you spend in the air, which is faster. You can even right trick to take an inside line on the rails themselves, which is faster, but the timing is super precise and for me at least messed up my dismount a decent bit. Every time I have a weird dismount, I just try and hit this rail on the far side. Yes, it means I'm taking the turn on the outside, but it's like a guaranteed fixed line for the next couple of turns. Alright, next let's get to Koopa Troopa Beach. You probably think that there's not that many shortcuts in this, but look, you see that ramp here? Yep, that means if we charge up and charge up, we can actually... Oh, okay. Man, that really sucks. You know what? Screw this track. I'm not talking about it anymore. For Mario Bros. Circuit, the best line you can take is this inside green pipe for the first turn of the track. It takes a tighter line than you can even take with a mushroom cutting off that off-road. It's just very powerful. For the split path section on the first lap of Rainbow Road, if you take the right path, you can actually skip onto the other path, cutting off this final turn. In theory. Again, I would like to consider myself decent at this game, but I have not been able to do this with any sort of consistency. The one time I got it while I was recording, I bumped it to the side, and it killed my momentum, but it is possible. They do it in the time trial world record, so if you want to get in the lab and figure that one out, go for it. The timing is quite precise, though, from my experience. Instead, I just want to take this opportunity for Rainbow Road to point out that the first ever grass off-road shortcut of Rainbow Road is in this game. It's right here in the middle of lap 2, and even has a little ramp. Next, let's talk about Salty Speedway. This one has a cool wall ride section that sets you up well for the coolest cut on this track, which is by far wall riding off the grade onto this little looping piece of wall up to this top hat. Next, let's talk about Shy Guy Bazaar. This is one of my favorite cuts in this entire video because it has specific tech that will help you online. If you do this shortcut, no one else can do it. That's right, it's crazy. Specifically at the start in Shy Guy...
5, 4, 3, 2.
Man behind it all.
Fresh meat. Get some, you freaking what?
Da-da-da.
4, 3, 2, 1. Fresh meat.
Well, you feel oh my god. What are you doing? What? Oh my. Oh my god. You suck. Wow.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Fresh meat.
Just look. Yippee! I suck. Oh my god, you suck. I'm gonna die. Ow.
Sorry, there's a bunch of stuff to do with rail rides, but this is good. At the end, you can do a bunch of wall rides, and if you're on the lower path and charge up a charge jump, you can trick onto this rail, getting into the upper path for the wall ride. Now let's watch this back in slow motion, because there's a lot happening here. First, you want to trick onto these plates, at least that's the timing that's worked for me. Then you want to trick off and hit this light post. The light post actually goes flying, you can still trick off of it, but because it is destructible, then no one else can take this line. It gives you a one-time trick boost that no one else can get. That trick will put you on this rail, which puts you on this top part, and then from there you wall right off to the glider path. Next, we have Sky High Sunday, and by far the coolest cut here is just this inside line. All you need to do is drive off and remember to trick. Again, if you don't know, you can only wall ride if you trick in this game. If you just drive off, it won't let you wall ride, but as soon as you trick, you're all set. Starview Peak, to me, is kinda like Dandelion Depths. I like it, but there's just no real interesting alternate paths or cuts. The best tip I have is the underwater section at the end actually gives you that same boost you get in the back half of Bowser's Castle and at parts of Rainbow Road. You just don't really notice it as much because you are in water, which is naturally a bit slower. However, if you're able to drive on this golden outside trim, you still get the boost and end up flying. It's really tough to control though, and especially if you're doing this with other players, I would highly recommend only trying this if you're someone super heavy. You don't want to get bumped off and sent to Narnia. Next, we have Toad's Factory, which has this super cool wall ride alternate path, but my favorite cut at the end is rail grinding off of these support beams. If you get lucky with your cycle, you can even chain this into the rail grind on the final section, cutting over most of the mud. For Wario Stadium, I gotta shout out this path right here, because if you can wall ride at a tight enough angle and get on top to rail grind, you get a free 5 coins while taking the line pretty tight. The best cut here, though, is right at the start, because if you can wall ride at a tight enough angle to get up to this rail grind, then trick off, you get a great line to basically do it all again and rail grind longer. Next, let's go to the other Wario track. Wario Shipyard has a cool alternate path at the end that I just learned about. If you wall ride up this final hill before the cannon, you can then boost to on top of the cannon, which with some practice can get you on this rail. It's pretty tough because you can't actually see it, but it's a fun alternate path regardless. The final cut I gotta talk about is Whistle Stop Summit. This course has some awesome tech. Huge fan of this final section, there's so many snaking paths and different routes you can drive in, but the best shortcut here is just charging up a charge jump and then doing 2 wall rides to skip this entire turn. This is a sneaky, difficult jump to make, but it's definitely worth practicing because if you can get it consistent, it does save a decent amount of time and it's super helpful online. With that out of the way, we've gone through every single track in the game. I gave my personal favorite cut that I think is probably the best one to know, and a bunch of other shortcuts. I'm just really enjoying everything I'm playing of this title. The core mechanics are just so fun, and hopefully throughout watching this video, you've learned some new routes that you want to implement into your gameplay, or just had fun seeing all the cool mechanics this game has in store. If you guys enjoyed the video and haven't watched our tips and tricks,
Good.
Five, four, three, two, one.
What?
Fresh meat.
Where? Okay. catch it! I am fucked out.